Chris, when you were originally told that you were basically persona non grata due to your vax status in terms of running for office, how did you feel?
Okay, I wouldn't be that dramatic about it, David, but like I said, I spent approximately 45 minutes finishing off all the paperwork, signing everything off, paying the fees, et cetera, et cetera. And then the last page was, by the way, all City of Windsor employees have to be, I think the term was fully vaccinated or some mention of COVID vaccinations. And so I just paused for a second. I said, oh, really? Well, I said, my private medical choices are probably going to stay private. I said, for the most part, but just out of curiosity, why would a councillor need to be vaccinated? And a Windsor police officer who's also, a City of Windsor employee wouldn't need to be vaccinated.
And Chris, if I can jump in there, I think this is a very important point. The clerk said all City of Windsor employees. Well, I'm sorry, the police are City of Windsor employees. I mean, they have their own board, but that's neither here nor there. And when I think of police work, sometimes as a cop, you're getting your hands dirty, literally. You're dealing with bad guys. There might be bodily fluids, blood, what have you. And there's no mandatory vaccination for that, but for somebody that's implementing policy at City Hall, you have to be vaccinated. I don't get the logic here.
Well, I thought for a minute, maybe they must have some pretty volatile councillor sessions where they're throwing lefts and rights, and maybe that's what. No, seriously. So I just say, would you mind checking this for me? Very, very nice woman at the clerk's office. Not her fault. She's just relaying the message. So she said, yeah, it's a good question. I'll check with our legal department and I'll get back to you early next week. This was on a Thursday. So I waited until the Tuesday, that was early next week, and I called and asked for that person, and I was told that person's off for this week. Can I leave a message? I said, well, can you check this for me? It's a pretty simple question. I want to run it as a councillor for the council position in Ward 2, but I guess there's a vaccination requirement for City of Windsor employees. Could you find out if that applies to a councillor? She said, oh, yes, no problem. I'll get back to you by the end of the week. That was on the Tuesday. So on the Friday, nobody got back to me. So, so I was meeting with my friends. One of them suggested that I contact Rebel News about this. And I said, they don't, they have more important fish to fry. He goes, no, contact them. So I did. And, I just sent an email there very quickly. And like 5 minutes later, you contacted me. So,
Oh, yeah. Well, Chris, with all due respect, I think this is a very big fish to fry. The very idea that an individual in a democracy could be forced to sit on the sidelines because of not getting a vaccination, I think that's huge. And I'm not kidding. Like, what's the next step? Voters who don't get vaxxed, they get denied their franchise there. Now, eventually, Chris, as I understand, when we spoke off camera, they said it was under review. You picked up a stink about this very politely, of course. Of course, City Hall moves at the speed of a glacier, it would seem. But eventually, you did get in touch with somebody, and you scored what I would call a partial victory. What is the deal as of right now, Chris?
The partial victory, the Pyrrhic victory, as you put it, David, is this. Number one, I am eligible to run as a councillor for the council position in Ward 2 here in Windsor for the October 24th election. Part two, if I'm elected, I'll be able to represent my constituents as a City of Windsor employee. Number three, the vaccination requirements are still in place. So when all the smoke clears from all that, this basically means you can run when you get elected, you can represent the ward, but you either have to get your shots to represent the ward in person in council chambers, or they didn't actually say it, but I'm guessing the only other alternative would be some sort of video conferencing of some kind, in the next room or from my home, whatever. But I just think it just puts, it's shackling someone, you're trying to represent your ward. You want to be there face to face. You want to be able to make eye contact with people. Body language is a big part of communication. I'm sure you're aware of that, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
I want to represent my ward in a healthy, responsible manner. And now I'm, right off the bat, they're telling me, well, you can't sit with us. So it's a little strange, but at the end of the day, I'm only one person, David. There's lots of people in Canada who face a lot of more serious issues, but going forward, just, the whole idea that a municipal regulation or bylaw, whatever they call it, can supersede federal or provincial election guidelines. It's like, this is supposed to be guaranteed in, I suppose, our charter or our constitution. Here's the city saying, well, forget about if you're Canadian and you're 18 and you live in the area. Those things don't matter as much as do you have your shot. So it's like, well, I didn't notice that change to any federal or provincial laws. So, that's the first thing. But the second thing, there are a lot of municipal elections coming up. It's not, in Canada for the rest of, there's I think maybe 10 different jurisdictions that are going to have municipal elections. So are they going to face the same kind of thing? You're going to have to be vaccinated. Other people are going to be running in this election here in Windsor. I'm sure they're not all vaccinated either. So, I just think it's a strange point to make at this time. But anyway, you roll with the punches. I try to keep a sense of humor about this. So it's like, well, okay, I want to be seen as making a difference. At city council, I just didn't think it would be like a difference in medical choices, but that's okay. I'm willing to go forward with it. As I mentioned to you, I've got two main issues I want to run on. But if they're going to make the vaccination issue, I didn't really want to talk about that at all originally until I got hit with that when I went to City Hall. And it's like, okay, so if this is going to be, the media's going to force this as an issue. Okay, then you know what? I got it taken on. So, I'm happy I've got the opportunity to explain a little bit here today on your show.
What you just saw was an excerpt from my nightly show, the Ezra Levant Show. Every weekday, I do a monologue. Usually it's about half an hour. Then I interview an interesting guest, and then we read my hate mail or my fan mail, whichever is more fun. It's only available behind a paywall, though. That's how we pay our bills here at Rebel News. We don't take a dime from Justin Trudeau. But the good news is it's only $8 a month, about half the price of Netflix. And in addition to my nightly show, you also get weekly shows from 4 other friends here at Rebel News. So you're getting 36 shows a month just for $8. I think it's worth it. And even if you're not quite sure, do it anyways, because we rely on viewers like you to keep us free and independent. I promise you I'll never take a dime from Trudeau. Just go to rebelnewsplus.com and click subscribe. Thanks.